is up, everybody? Welcome to Cosmic Origins. My name is Jace. In this video, we're going to be just hanging out, chilling, looking at Google Earth, and scoping out some anomalies. This is one of my favorite things to do, just as a pastime, is cruise around Google Earth and look at all the weird stuff going on. There's a lot of strange anomalies that I feel like have been appearing on Google Earth in the recent years, and especially in like the past year. And a lot of these have to do with underground ocean tunnels and things like that. Yo, what's up, Tyler? What's up, Joel? What's up, Jay? What's up, Crystal? Good to see you guys. So one of my kind of go-to anomalies, which, by the way, real quick, would you guys give me a 5 for 5 in the chat if the volume is good between the music and my voice, or if the music's too loud? I can turn it down a little bit. What's up, Jeff? Good to see you, man. What's up, Bill? What's up, Oddity? Awesome, 5 for 5. Cool, cool. Okay, so I have one of my favorite kind of anomalies that I come back to that I did a video about a little bit ago is off the coast of Australia on the southern side. There is these strange formations that look like there's some kind of structure under the ground. Awesome, 5 for 5. Cool, cool. Thank you guys, appreciate it. So off the coast of Australia, I did a video about this maybe like 2 years ago, and it got like, I just checked it last night, it had like 8,000 views. I think it's my most popular video, actually, behind my initial, one of my first videos I did on 17 that I had to remove because of copyright, or not copyright, but just strike stuff. But yeah, anyway, off the coast of Australia, there's these like lines, and they seem to come out straight from the coast, right? Like we have, you know, Perth here, and then from this kind of area we see these radiating what look like tunnels coming out from this area, and they come down to these strange block-like structures, which if you zoom in you can tell is a highly textured area, and it's not even like, you know, something particular as far as like a physical anomaly. Like it is a change in the texture pack or the mapping on Google Earth. So it's almost like someone wants us to know that there is something right here. Now, I want to get out of the way, like, you know, one of the first things people will say is that, you know, this is what the kind of mainstream explanation of this is that there are, you know, boats and stuff that are going out and mapping the seafloor, and that they're just mapping certain parts, and then that's why we're seeing these strange lines. But to me, that just seems like ridiculous. Like of course it is, you know, a textured thing. Like this is obviously high def, this is low def, and we're missing definition over here. But I feel like whoever is doing this is trying to show us that there's something in this area, because it's just too much of an abnormality, and I've not seen them expand. It's not like they're going out here and continuing to expand the mapping on these areas. And that explanation I've also never seen any evidence for, as far as like the mapping and stuff. So I think that what we're seeing is probably some insiders, or, you know, whatever you want to call them, that know locations of certain underground dumbs, deep underground bases and tunnels and things, and that we're essentially getting like a map of them. So that's kind of one of the first things I look at as far as strangeness. And you can just follow these lines. I mean, they're all over the earth. Like if you go to, let's type in Fiji, because I know there's a bunch around Fiji. So if we zoom out from Fiji, oh wait, maybe it's not Fiji that I'm thinking of. It's what islands? Is it Bora Bora? Well, Bora Bora, yeah, French Polynesia. So we definitely have some here. You can see, zoom out, you can see the radiating lines coming out. And it's like, to me, I mean, we know that there's underground tunnels, both ancient and more modern, military, human built, but also ancient, you know, before we were, you know, doing this kind of stuff as humans. Ancient Earth civilization groups that have underground tunnels. So again, clearly this isn't like a physical tunnel we're looking at. Like it's not like a, you know, like a trench or anything, but there's clearly, you know, there's clearly radiating lines going out. So I find that pretty interesting. Also, Hawaii's got a bunch of them here. What's up, Crypto Grabs? What's up, K-Ria? Welcome, welcome, guys. Another area I kind of like to explore is off the coast of California here, particularly, well, really the whole coast of California, stuff going on. But let's start in San Diego. So what's interesting about San Diego too is that this is, I was talking about this in my video yesterday, San Diego is a really big hotspot for ET activity and for military activity, right? Which is probably, it could probably goes hand in hand, right? So in my last video, I was talking about how there was a big sighting recently off the coast of San Diego, which probably would have been in about this area. And the other thing that occurred off the coast of San Diego in this kind of general area is that USS Nimitz incident with the, you know, that whole New York Times reporting with the whole To the Stars thing. I actually was just watching the first episode of that. What do they call it? I forget what they call it. Unidentified, which is obviously, you know, kind of a what we would call a partial disclosure narrative, a limited hangout, and I don't agree with what they're proposing. You know, the whole To the Stars Academy and what's going on in that show. But it's still interesting to watch to see what kind of narrative they're putting out there. And Lou Elizondo is a very interesting figure. He has a background in a lot of DoD stuff, and he's very interesting. I'm trying to get a better read on him, but I'm not a fan of the fact that they're making these out to be threats, these craft that we're seeing. But anyway, I was looking at Google Earth last night, and I pinpoint it, and it was about, okay, so let's see. Let me look up Ensenada, and then I can tell you where that incident happened, and then we'll look at what's in that area. Okay, so we have Ensenada here, we have San Diego here. I believe it was about here that USS Nimitz incident happened. So it actually happened off the coast of Mexico, which is interesting. I don't know if it was international waters. They were 30 miles out, so maybe it was. But it was off the coast of Mexico, and it was in about this area. And if you just look at what's going on in this area, it's very strange. Like, we see more radiating lines, and these aren't textured in the same way that the other radiating lines were. These appear to be actually on the ground floor of the ocean. And yeah, it's different than what we were looking at in like Australia and Polynesia, right? But I don't know, can you guys see this? Like, from this point, it's like there's radiating lines out. So I'm not sure what's going on, but they kind of lead to these islands here. And, you know, we have the islands, obviously, South Coronado, but then there's this big underground structure here as well. And there's this thing, whatever this thing is, that kind of looks a little bit artificial, right? Like, it doesn't look like it is supernatural, does it? But I just love going in here and exploring these canyons, and there's so much definition to them now that I feel like was never here on Google Earth before. I mean, you can like go right into these canyons here, and they're massive. And then we can see the little bits of the islands that are peeking out. So trippy. So we got North Coronado, Isla Coronado, South Coronado, and it was about this area that Nimitz incident happened. So let's go up the coast, and I want to just like go up the coast to California and kind of look at some of the anomalies that are going on here. Hey, Successful Sarah, greetings from Cancun, she says. Crypto Grab says, I haven't studied Tartaria near enough, such a fascinating subject. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I haven't actually thought about Tartaria in terms of this stuff on Google Earth, but that's a great point. in terms of you know, ancient structures and things that might have come from that Tartaria civilization. Yeah, Tartaria is one of those things that I'm like super interested in, but there's not a ton of information about it. It's really hard to do a good dig because it's so well covered up. It's so well buried. So yeah, let's cruise up the coast here and let's just look at all the weird anomalies in the canyons, especially out off the coast of San Diego. There's some strange stuff, especially off of La Jolla. So let's go check that out. Okay, we're gonna move up here. Now we've crossed the border. This is San Diego. I also want to point out real quick, I had a dream one time, and I talked about this a little bit in the last live. I had a dream that I was in San Diego, and I was on a Navy, I don't know, battleship or cruiser. It was some kind of, you know, big Navy metal ship. And we were leaving an island that I think probably was this island. It was an island that was off the coast of San Diego. And this is the only one that I could think it might be, unless there's like a smaller island somewhere over here that I'm not seeing. But it would make sense that it would be this one. And we were leaving the island. We were going back to San Diego, and we saw one of those German Hanabu 2 craft just cruising by our ship. It flew right by our ship while we were on the water, and it just like cruised by super slow and was just like woo, 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 woo. And we were all like, oh shit, this is disclosure, like it's happening, like and I was surprised that they were using the old German craft. I was like, oh, that's how they're doing disclosure. They're gonna do it with the old German craft. How interesting. So first off, look at this. This is strange, right? More strange texturedness. So I don't know, is this a boat that's going and doing underground scans back and forth? Or is this, I mean, that doesn't seem as likely to me. This seems like we're looking at some kind of something on the seafloor that is resulting in these parallel lines. Many, many, many of them. There's another weird thing. Look at that. Let's follow this line. Let's see where it goes. No, it just kind of ends there. Okay, let's go up the coast more. So we have this strangeness. A little bit of high definition something there. It's very strange when they just have a little blotch of a high definition spot. Clearly they're blurring something out right here. Yeah, Jay says, can't get down with Lou Elizondo and Tom DeLonge. Too much BS afoot. I agree. I think there's a lot of funny business going on there. And the fact that the whole centered energy of what they're doing is that we have to be fearful of these unidentified threats. Like they're running off of fear, which is that's not a good sign. And I will say I used to really like Tom DeLonge. I was a big fan of Blink-182 back in the day, and I was a really big fan of Angels and Airwaves for many years. And I really resonated with Tom for a while, and then he started getting into this stuff, and you know, Podesta was a big part of that too with those leaks, and that was weird, especially when Podesta happened and then the leaks in 2016 and we saw those emails and everything. That's when I was like, okay, this is definitely not good if they're working with Podesta. Okay, let's go to La Jolla, because in La Jolla there's this giant canyon, which is really interesting. So we have Del Mar. I think this is, yeah, right here. Okay, so La Jolla, if you guys don't know, La Jolla is a really popular kind of high-scale area of San Diego. There's the Scripps Institute, Scripps Hospital, and there's this giant canyon here called La Jolla Canyon. And look at this. What the heck is that thing? There's like a giant, and these are kind of rainbowy, which is interesting. I've never seen the rainbow, but there's a giant structure just in the canyon. And you know how they can modify these things too, obviously, like the face on Mars and all that other stuff. They've modified, you know, the images. So I don't know, this could be a pyramid, like who knows. But there's something there. And I was looking up videos of people diving on YouTube to see if I could find it, because people dive this area, but I couldn't find anything about this giant structure right there. But also from like a geographical standpoint, if you think about what could have made this, it's very interesting. It seems like a large flood or a large energy of some kind really pushed through this area. Well, let's keep going up the coast. Got some more of these tracks. Like, this is weird. That is not normal, right? That's not natural. Look at the way that they collide too, like different directions. Very, very strange. I think that there's probably a very significant reason why San Diego is so heavily militarized in this area. There's got to be stuff under the water here that is important. Some more squiggly lines here. Here's another channel, and as we get up the coast more, there's going to be more anomalies getting into like Northern California, like strange mounds and things. Okay, so here we're getting the start of this. There's a ton of these things as we start to move more up the coast. I don't know what they are, but they're like indentations. They're like, they look like almost craters, but they don't appear to be natural craters. Okay, we go super smooth. Here's another strange kind of channel, some kind of structure here. And I wish we could see right next to the coast what was there, because that would be optimal, but they blur that out, obviously. Let's see if we're missing anything a little further out. Okay, let's keep going. They block something out here. We still have more of these strange lines. Here's some more. Okay, now we're moving up into the LA area, OC LA. And if you guys see anything interesting, point it out if I don't see it. Okay, we have Catalina Island over here. Catalina's obviously like a big hot spot. Okay, so right here actually is there's a recent documentary. I haven't watched it yet, but what do they call it? Terror in the Sky. It's got like Michio Kaku, and you know, it's more of a mainstream UFO disclosure documentary, but they set up a triangulation point between Long Beach, Catalina, and I think Laguna Beach, this area right here, and they bring a bunch of like professional film camera out and try to document UFO activity. I haven't actually seen it, but if you guys have, let me know if it's worth watching. Glad you like the music, Sarah. It's Japanese lo-fi radio. Let's see if we can find anything weird. So we got some oil barges out here. A lot of these strange lines. Like, this is clearly not a definition thing, right? Like, this is clearly a giant line. Like some kind of unnatural canyon type thing. I mean, that's not like a natural line. That's so straight, right? So that's something. Some kind of underground tunnel. Here's another strange thing. Like, what is that? Another hole. Maybe that's like a hole goes into deep tunnels or something. Inner Earth kind of entrance. Here's something that could definitely be a base. This is right off the coast, and we can see there's like clear indentation with rectangular like shape. Let's see, this is right off the coast of Bolsa Chica, Seal Beach, if any of you guys are from that area. You know, it's interesting because when Alexis and I were living in our van and traveling around, and we were in the LA area near the coast, we felt so overwhelmed energetically when we were on the coast of LA. Like, we both got the feeling like there was something in the water energy wise that was like overwhelming, you know, our senses, and probably the people living there too, but we're like extra sensitive. And I don't know, it felt like something artificial. It felt like something mechanical that was under the water, that was human, that was messing with like the magnetics or something. Here's some more. Look at this. Totally, like, tell me that's not a fucking building. Look at that. It's so square. Is anyone even gonna try to claim that that's natural? That's some crazy shit. Some more strange texture. Like, okay, this seems like it's more ancient to me. I feel like I can kind of feel the difference between what feels more ancient and what feels more human. Like, this feels more human because humans like making square things, right? Humans love squares for whatever reason. But this, I mean, it's still square shaped, but it's more like, I mean, these look like little craters almost, like a bunch of little craters. But what would cause a bunch of craters in just this square area, not the surrounding area? I don't know. Oh, Ben says that that line back there might be an oil pipeline. That's very possible. Could be an oil pipeline, but it would be massive. And it looks like an indentation to me. Like, I mean, when you get in there, like, it looks like it's indented downwards. It could very well be an oil pipeline, but it seems a little big. Okay, so these buildings are off. Let's see where this is. Los Angeles Harbor Lighthouse. Reservation Point. Terminal Island. So kind of off Long Beach, between Long Beach and like Rancho Palos Verdes. That area. Any of you guys live in LA, in this area? Ever feel like weird energies on the beach, like I was talking about? I love looking at these canyons because I just picture like getting in a submarine and like cruising down these canyons, and I feel like there's got to be all sorts of cool hidden stuff, ancient history that's hidden in here, you know, underground tunnels, artifacts, who knows? And that's, you know, the same reason, or at least one of them, why Ghislaine Maxwell was doing that with the submarines, and you know, all that kind of stuff. Like they were searching and finding these ancient artifacts in these sites, and probably doing horrible criminal stuff in them, taking people there, and I don't even know. I can't even imagine. But they were definitely aware of some shit going down under the water. All right, let's keep moving up. Let's zoom out, see if we can see anything around Catalina before we go further north. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, maybe share it in a Telegram group or two if you can. Definitely helps out. My goal is to start getting subs up on this because I've been so heavily oppressed on this channel for so many years because of the things I've talked about, but I'm being really careful now not to say trigger words, because I used to just I used to have no filter, and I would just say all the trigger words and it would get me strikes so fast. But I think I've removed all the videos that are potentially strike sensitive, content sensitive. So my goal is in the next year to get up to like 10K followers, which is, I heard that from Matthew Morning, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do that too. 10K next year, this time next year. Alexis and I both. That's our goal. Have you guys ever been to Catalina? Let's take a look at Catalina real quick, because there's something I want to show you. If you guys have been to Catalina, you've probably been to Avalon. This is where they take... this is the pretty much the only city. This is where they take you when you go. And I want you to just look at the way that the energy flows in this area. Look at the way that the canyons sit, and the energy just flows straight up, right? It almost looks like a seat. It almost reminds me of if you've seen Kauai, there's a place called like the Throne of the Gods or something, and it looks like where a giant could have just sat. This looks very similar. But check it out. If we follow this, and I've walked back here, I've gone all the way back here. Where does it end? It ends in this crazy temple called Wrigley's Temple. And I wish you could see it a little better. Maybe I'll show you some pictures. Wrigley Temple, Catalina. This thing is very strange. I've been here several times as a kid, and always felt like it was a powerful spot. That gives you kind of a glimpse of it. This is the view from the temple overlooking. These are not the temple. That's something else. But yeah, interesting. The other interesting thing is that oh shoot, what is the name of it? So, well, anyway, I think this is something. I think there's something going on here with this temple. Like, there's some kind of occult, esoteric thing going on, especially with the way the energy flows back there. But if we go back to Avalon, this building here, Casino Point, but I forget what. I thought there was another name for this building. But anyway, I think it was Joel. I don't know if you're still in the chat, Joel, but I'm pretty sure it was Joel. Might have been someone else that was here like about a year ago, and they saw that this building was flying the Space Force flag, and like only the Space Force flag. So I thought that was pretty interesting, because to me, that when I heard about that, that was like significant to me that Space Force had taken some kind of acquisition of the island, defensively in one form or another. And Catalina has a history of military presence. I mean, they've trained Marines here, they've trained the Navy here. There's also a bunch of just like mysterious deaths and things that have happened at Catalina. Very, very, occult centered place, I think. Oh, look, Frog Rock. That's funny. All right, let's see if there's any anomalies around here, and then we'll move up the coast. Oh, that's interesting. That could just be like a volcano or something. But interesting shape. Earthworth says, I go camping on the other side past 2 harbors at Parsons Landing. Let's check that out. Oh, that's cool. How do you actually get over there? Do you do you go to Avalon first and then take like a shuttle, or do you boat? You take a boat directly to the spot. That looks beautiful. Very cool. Okay, let's move up the coast, because I know as we go further up, we're going to start seeing more of the anomalies that are like domes and things like that. K. Reyes says, I lived in Long Beach 87 to 89. Catalina has very strange vibe, feels very secretive. Yeah. Do you guys remember who was the celebrity that died there? The woman who was supposedly drowned in like, it's like some famous movie star in like the 40s. I forget her name. I think it was probably some kind of sacrifice though. Like, seems like a lot of that kind of stuff happens. So much geography. I mean, if you picture like, we've talked about before, like California kind of being connected to Lemuria, and how, well, really that like Lemurian colonies, Lemurian energy were present, I think, in this whole area, even, Philippines area. But I think that most likely that Mu or Lemuria was the Hawaii area. And then upon the collapse of Mu, I think that we had, well, let's put it this way. The Law of One material, the raw material, says that the Native American civilizations that we know today in North America are direct descendants of the Lemurians. So what I picture is that Lemuria had its event, as the raw material puts it. It was some kind of cataclysm that was of no fault of their own, so some kind of tsunami or attack maybe, which personally, and I've been meaning to do a separate video about this, but I think it was this right here. And after this, we'll go back to California. But since I'm thinking about this, take a look at this. All of the Hawaiian Islands are roundish for the most part in shape, right? Kauai is very round. Honolulu's mostly round, because they're volcanoes and the magma spreads out. But take a look at Molokai here, which is also one of the only islands that, like, you can't really travel to. You can, but it's more of a locals island. They keep it more under wraps. Look at all of this debris. This is scientific. This is scientifically accurate that they admit there was some kind of large destructive force that blew Molokai Island in half and sent this debris, I believe like hundreds of miles. It's got to be hundreds of miles into the ocean. These were all pieces of the island that blew off, and the island is literally broken in half. You can picture, like, if you were to put these back together, it would be more of a round island. Natalie Wood, thank you, Kay. That was the movie star. Thank you for that. So yeah, to me it seems like there was some kind of destructive force. In the history books, they say that it was the largest tsunami to ever happen. This is like accurate. Like, let me look this up. I mean, accurate scientifically, at least. Like, the mainstream even admits this. Molokai landslide. Hawaiian landslides and potential mega tsunami. Possibly the largest tsunamis ever experienced were triggered by massive landslides off the flanks of the Hawaiian volcanoes that could devastate the coastlines of the Pacific Ocean. So, yeah, it's all connected. I mean, this landslide would have directly impacted California, I believe. Let's see. Okay, maybe less of California. Well, I guess it could have hit California, but it looks like it would have more directly impacted British Columbia, Alaska. But, you know, it probably created ripples that hit California as well. But to me, this is a dot connection that I haven't seen anyone else make in terms of Lemuria and the destruction of Lemuria, and actually looking at physically what could have destroyed Lemuria. And, you know, this could have been, I think back then there was a lot of other, you know, galactic action going on, ET wars, you know, weapons. This was described all throughout history, lots of descriptions from natives of wars going on in the skies. And it's very likely to me that this could have been hit by some kind of mega weapon that just blew it in half and then, you know, destroyed the majority of the Lemurian people, and then caused the Lemurians to go and scatter and create like offshoots of their society of the surviving colonies. And I think that that's what ended up creating the Native Americans. So somehow they were able to get to the mainland, and then we had the Native Americans, and those would be the direct descendants of the Lemurians. So let's keep going up the coast here. I used to live in this area, Central Coast of California. That's interesting. That almost looks like a giant penis. They blur so much of it out. Okay, there's an interesting one. See, this is what I'm talking about. There's just weird things that are not, that does not look naturally formed. It even has a little dimple on the top. I wonder what that could be. The dimple could even act as some kind of satellite communications relay, maybe even a natural one to some degree. That almost looks like it could make a heart. And there will be more of these as we move upward. Here's another one. This one's even more like, oh my god, does that not look like the Death Star? Straight up looks like the Death Star, doesn't it? Very weird. Very strange. Okay, this is one of the, okay, this, somebody give me a natural explanation for this, if you can. What the heck are these dimply circle things that form in a straight line? I can't think of any natural explanation for that. And then look, you even have the shape of the rectangular. Feels like it, I mean, it looks to me like it's some kind of building that has some kind of like concave structures on top of it, and then we have this giant one next to it. Very weird. Very weird. And where does this lead? So if we follow this straight to the coastline, let's see what city it takes us to. Oh shit, it's Avila Beach, man. I've spent so much time there. That's crazy. I've like kayaked this whole area. I've hung out here at the lighthouse. That's so funny. What a trip. And even this, look, you have like smooth, right? And then it goes into these weird lines. There's gotta be so many cool secrets that are hidden here. I mean, these almost look like stair steps. They look like a giant stairway or something. And I leave the availability open that this is something, you know, that has to do with the photography of it. But, you know, I could see potentially maybe that this is that, but there's no way that what we just looked at over here, where'd it go? Oh, now I lost it. What we were just looking at with the dimples and the caves and stuff, there's no way that, here we go. There's no way that is an anomaly of the camera, right? Like, that's clearly some kind of structures that are intelligently designed and placed in a straight line. Terraforming, Ben says, could be terraforming. I wonder. I mean, maybe they're like artificially constructed volcanic vents or something, like to create a pressure release or something like that, terraforming wise. But they're massive. I mean, look at the scale of it. Like, these two structures in particular, this one and this one, which do not look anything like normal volcanoes underground. They are very large in size. I mean, they would almost take up this whole bay. The whole Avila Bay is like the size of one of those. And if you've been to Avila Bay, that's pretty big. I mean, that's a very large structure. Some more strangeness off of Pismo. Some more strange dents in the ground. Almost look like footprints. Portals. Limonella says portals, maybe. Inner Earth entrances, maybe. Ah, here's another hint. Diablo Canyon Power Plant. So I'm very familiar with this too, because I was in this area for a couple of years, and this was something we were familiar with, that there was this big power plant called Diablo Canyon, which obviously is Devil's Canyon. So to me, when they name stuff like that and they do things like that, there's a reason as far as the location and all that kind of stuff. So what was really going on in Devil's Canyon in this area? Here's another strange kind of dent. Alexis. The bird keeps screaming. If you can get him in his cage, you can put him in there and put his blanket over it. Maybe he'll stop. Any of you guys ever been to Morro Bay? There's this giant rock called Morro Rock, which is very interesting. You're not allowed to climb it. It's forbidden. And there's some strange anomalies going on in the water here, like interesting vortex. This could be a natural thing, but it's clearly looks like a vortex. You can see the swirling energies and very large. So I believe I heard a story recently too, where like a person went missing around here. They were swimming and they went missing in this area. So there's a lot of strangeness in the San Luis Obispo kind of area. Also, let's talk about it since we're here. Vandenberg Air Force Base is right here, very close in Lompoc. Let's see, let's search it. Vandenberg Air Force Base was one of the biggest Air Force bases for rocket launches. It's now a Space Force base. I used to work with them when I was doing aerospace engineering. I was the president of the Aerospace Society in college, and I would coordinate with the base, and we would go there, and we would take people there. I had a meeting there with some top level aerospace like executives and the president of the AIAA, and strange stuff. When I look back on it, I'm like, that's kind of weird that I did that, and I didn't think about it. But I've been on base. I've watched classified rocket launches from this base on base, because like I had clearance. This very heavy, I'll just say very heavy SSP activity, dumb activity from this base. And the fact that Space Forces took it over is a good thing, because there was a lot of shady stuff going on here. Underground, in space. It was, yeah, let's just leave it at that. There was a lot of shady stuff, and I think that it's been taken over for the better now. Yeah, that entire coastline is weird vibey, Kay says. Yep, very, Very. Like, what is this thing? What is that? That's not normal. Real quick, a quick story from a friend of mine back in college who wasn't into any of this, you know, we'll say conspiracy stuff. He saw a flying triangle, a black flying triangle, when he was driving by this base, and he was not into that stuff at all. And he saw it, and he was like, yeah, like, it was a giant black floating triangle in the sky, and then it just took off at like 1,000,000 miles an hour and disappeared instantly. And ever since then, he was kind of like more aware of this kind of stuff. Diablo Canyon up here also has connections with the aerospace department at San Luis Obispo. Like, I remember people telling me that there was weird activity going on aerospace wise over there that they were keeping secret. Okay, here's another thing. Check this out. What in the actual heck? What are these? It's almost like a giant who was wearing cleats was running around, aerating the ground, making it more porous. I'm not saying that's what it was. That's what it looks like. But what really could make this? What do you guys think? Because this is strange. And clearly they block it here. They make it blurry, but you can see that it keeps going, right? Like, there's more of these. Whatever they are, they're pretty deep craters, and they're pretty evenly spaced out. Looks like monkeypox, Limonella says. That's funny. Quick, jab him. There's some more over here. And there's similar structures to this in Greece that I can show you in a little bit, but they're opposite. In Greece, they're mounds, and in here, they're dimples, but they're about the same size and the same texture as like how spread out they are and everything. Okay, so now we're getting into Big Sur. If you've ever been to Big Sur, super beautiful place. It's actually pretty interesting to see how quickly the shelf dips off from the coastline. McWay Falls is probably the most famous part of Big Sur right here. Beautiful spot. Last time I was here, it was actually closed. Last time I was here, we tried to go hiking up in here because I've gone hiking up in here. One time I'll just tell you, one time I took LSD and I went hiking up this mountain, and just like straight up the side of the mountain, like no trail, no nothing. Me and a buddy were just like, it was so magical. It was honestly one of the coolest things ever. And we just went straight like up the side, and I ended up finding like this rock on the cliff that I just sat on up here and like overlooked the ocean, and it was so pretty. And then my poor buddy, like, he ended up going through a bunch of poison oak because he got stuck. He was a much bigger guy than me, and he was able to climb to a point that I wasn't able to get to, and he got stuck and had to come back through just this huge patch of poison oak, and he ended up getting cut by it, and it got into his bloodstream, and he got super sick for like a month, like flu-like symptoms, because he got poison oak in his blood. Horrible. But it was a good day other than that. I had fun. Very magical area. It felt like we were in Lord of the Rings. Ben says, anyone know of any good non-mainstream mermaid material or underwater beings? Oh, houses. They could be houses. That is a great theory. Wow, I didn't even think about that. That these could be houses. I mean, if this was above water at some point, that's very possible. You know, something that comes to mind too is like almost like an anthill, like insect-like. Which we know there were, you know, according to the Hopi and many ancient traditions, there were ant people, right? That's a very common narrative in the native lore, that there were ant people in the Grand Canyon area, especially Sedona ant people. So, I don't know, I get kind of an insect vibe almost from that, honeycomb-like. All right, let's keep cruising. And you know, guys, I think I might smoke a bowl if anyone wants to join me. I just got a little bit of my own stuff that I grew, and I've been enjoying a little bit of it. And man, homegrown stuff, herb-wise, is so much better than what you can get at the dispensary. Like, especially if it's sun-grown, just as a side thing, sun-grown herb, oh my gosh, is so much more fulfilling to the mind-body-spirit complex than, oh, did we get cut? Can you guys still see me on the stream? Can you give me a 5 for 5 if we're still here? It looked like I might have dropped for a second when I started talking about herb. Make sure that we're still live. Sometimes they just cut me randomly. It would make sense that when I start talking about herb, that's actually good for you. Okay, 555, cool. But yeah, if anyone wants to join me and have a little toke sesh, we can have a little toke sesh together, and then we'll be on our merry way into the Google Earth abyss once again, find some more cool stuff. Just take a little bit of a little break. But yeah, sun-grown stuff, if you smoke herb and you tend to get your stuff from the dispensary like most people do, which is almost always, you know, indoor grown, sun-grown, you can't beat the sun. There are nutrients and energies, photons, codes from the sun that get into the plants, whether it's cannabis or anything else, that you can't recreate with an indoor artificial light setting. And I noticed that with myself, when I smoke too much indoor, I start to feel kind of crazy and like not good and unwell. I'll get like weird spasms in my body even. But homegrown and especially, you know, outdoor stuff is like so much more healing. So definitely recommend that. All right, let's keep going here. So we got Big Sur, more of these things. Okay, this is really interesting. Monterey Bay, very famous, right? Like pretty much one of the most famous bays in the world, especially for aquatic life and things like that. Okay, says entire outdoor industry collapsing here in Mendocino County. Ooh, bummer. Yeah, I could see why, just the competition and everything, huh? So what is this? Portuguese Ledge State Marine. Look at the way that this funnels down. That's really interesting, isn't it? I wonder why they call it the Portuguese Ledge. Do you guys see this? It looks like there's something here, and it's hard to tell if it's a texture thing, but clearly someone, either there's something here or someone programmed in this shape, but we see a square-like shape here as well. Okay, let's keep moving up the coast. I feel like whenever we see stuff like this, it's just, to me, it's indicative of like what the energies are doing in these areas. Like I can just picture the energies flowing up and in a good way, like, you know, bringing life force almost to these areas. Moss Landing. All right, let's keep cruising. More kind of stair step activity, right? It looks like stairs in a way. Now we're in the San Francisco Bay Area. You know, and I've never even heard of these islands. If any of you guys are from San Francisco, have you ever heard of these? I mean, I'm sure people who live there have, but being in California my whole life, I've never even heard of these islands. It makes me wonder if anyone comes out here. There are some buildings. And look at this. There's something there, right? There's another textured area, and there's some I don't know, natural maybe kind of pathways, lava tubes potentially. And what are they blocking out here? Clearly something is being blurred out. Even right outside of the bay, there's some interesting lines. More of these. Like this, okay, this is clearly not the same as what we were looking at in Australia in the beginning, right? In the very beginning in Australia, we could see that it was clearly the texture, like someone had, you know, intentionally programmed it in. But this is like physical. Like you can see the physicality of this. It's all the same definition, you know, pixel-wise. But clearly there are channels or tunnels or something that are moving. Or not moving, but, you know, in this area. This is interesting. Maybe natural? It looks like an eye. Wow. I can't even fathom the scale of some of these. And I love that you can get right up close into it and look at it like it was a real mountain. Imagine the mysteries here. It's like a flat plateau. Almost looks like a landing pad. It's like an underwater Hawaii. Oh, do we have more? Yep, here's some more strange crater-like things. Okay, so maybe they... Oh, look, here's another Death Star almost looking... But this one does look more naturally volcanic in that I could see... I don't know, it's almost too perfectly round though, but I could see it almost looks like Mount St. Helens in the way that the side has been blown away. And you can almost see that center dome. Just to show you what I'm talking about, Mount St. Helens is a very similar kind of inner dome area. Let's see if we can see a good picture. Kind of hard to see in these, but yeah, similar kind of thing. Kay says there's supposedly an enormous star fort under the Golden Gate. Star fort? Do you mean like a Stargate? A Stargate under the Golden Gate? I've always felt drawn to the Golden Gate Bridge as a kid. Like it was just something that I loved. So I could see if there was some kind of anomaly there that actually would kind of draw that type of energy. There is something. Oh no, that's the shadow, huh? Yeah, that's just a shadow. I wonder if this is accurate, the degree at which they're depicting the depth and the geography of this, but I could see if there was something under the Golden Gate or in this area. Looks like it gets really deep right here too, maybe. Oh, star forts are Tartarian. That's a concept I'm not familiar with. You guys, you're gonna have to tell me a little bit more about that. Star forts. Ooh, has to do with dragons? Those are beautiful. I don't know if that's related, but I'm gonna have to look into that more. If you guys have any good suggestions as far as links or sources. Okay, so this is the right thing. When you said Google star forts, is it like, is this what you're talking about? I mean, the connection between this and the Pentagon is pretty obvious, right? Is the Pentagon a star fort? Fascinating. I gotta look more into that. All right, let's see what else. Huh. Cordell Bank. National Marine Sanctuary. I feel like, too, whenever they make places like a wildlife preserve or a sanctuary, not whenever, but in some cases when they do that, just like with national parks, that it's to protect or it's to hide something, I should say. Not always for the better. Sometimes just to hide it from the people. So like this, who knows what this really is. There's clearly something going on down here. And it's almost square-like as well. Let's see if we can see any bases near the coast. Interesting. These almost look like little swimmy guys. Like tadpoles. Some more clusters. And we can see these kind of stair-step things run what seems to be like the whole coast about the same length out, starting from down in San Diego. Here's some more tunnel-like structure. Now again, is this just the texture? Is this where they've blurred it out? Is this a physical thing, or are we looking at, you know, more of a message, like telling us there's something here by blurring out the sides of it? Or is it, you know, what the kind of mainstream consensus is, which is that this is just like a boat moving and scanning, and then they, for whatever reason, just never finish the job? I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. Here's another strange. This one's a little different too. More oval shaped. Okay, after California, I want to pop on over to Greece and actually South America too. There's a face under the water in South America. If you guys haven't seen that, this is fascinating. Look at that. Totally straight lines, right angles. That's not natural. Prinsky, you say you have many of those in the Netherlands. Are you talking about the star forts? Some more like kind of lines, right angle kind of things. And you could tell what's natural. I mean, clearly like this is more of a natural thing, but like, is this natural? Because that's a pretty dang straight line. That's a very straight line. And that appears to be like a physical indentation as opposed to like a blur effect. Okay, then we have this strange ridge here coming off of Eureka, California, near Gold Beach. Could be, you know, a tectonic plate thing. I mean, this does look like more of a natural thing, but still really fascinating. It goes all the way out. Then whatever this thing is. That looks like a wall too. I mean, that's pretty massive. Pretty massive. Here's some more dimply looking tidbits. More texture. Let's see what's going on the coast. That's interesting. But again, why are they blurring out part of it? Now we're in Vancouver area. Oh, you know, I found some weird things in the South China Sea the other day, too. We'll have to see if we could take a look at. All right, let's try South America now. Even though there's some cool stuff up here, too. But let's see if we can find the face in South America. Have you guys ever heard about this? The face underwater? I hope I can find it. Oh man, this is harder than I thought. But still, like, look at this. What the heck is going on here? I don't remember exactly where it was. I feel like it was this area though. Do you guys see the face? This is like a Where's Waldo. Look at that little bitty island. Wow, it's so tiny. What a trip. Wow, that is a steep drop off right there. Talk about a plateau. All right, let's go. We can come back here. But let's go check out. Oh, look, more radiating lines. You see these? Like all from here. All these radiating lines going out this way, this way, this way. Okay, let's check out those anomalies in Greece. Which, by the way, if you just look at this, what do you guys see? If you just kind of look at this area of like Greece and Turkey, like what comes to you guys? I'm curious. Because there's clearly some strange geographical abnormalities in this region. Oh yes, off the coast of San Diego, we already went through that in the beginning of the video. If you go back and watch near the beginning, that was like the first thing we went through for Bangarang in the comments. So, okay, if you guys are familiar with the concept of the kundalini of the planet, this I've heard, and also it resonates with me. I feel that there's truth to this. This is the kundalini of the planet right here. You can see the serpent. This is the head of the kundalini, or the serpent, or the snake, the head. And then you see how this is geographically distorted. Like we can see, obviously, starting with Greece, like this is very, I don't want to say disturbed, but like, you know, compared to the surrounding area, there's something happened here. Whether it was a flood, you know, glaciers, the Great Flood, the Mud Flood. But you can see it went, well, first of all, you can see it kind of looks like a portal here. Like it doesn't look like it flows, and then all of a sudden it starts flowing. And it comes down into Iran, and you can follow this kind of distorted geographics around the entire planet. And it literally makes like a, I guess you could say a snake being, a serpent being that like wraps around the planet. So it comes here, comes down into China. Shoot, wait, now I'm confusing myself. Because there's this part of it, I'm trying to think how it connects, because you have this whole part which is all like flooded or something and all distorted, obviously, like same kind of thing, right? Comes down, and this comes down all the way to the tip of Antarctica. It must be, yeah, I guess this is, so it comes like this, and then through here, I think, and then trying to think of the way that Matthias de Stefano described it, because that was the first time I heard it, when he described it on that show he's on. Remember, or what's it called? I forget the name. It kind of looks different from what I remember, but I think it comes up this way, and then it comes around this way, and then it comes this way, and then it comes down this way. I think that's right. And then it comes down the coast, and down here, and down this coast, and you can see still it's all like distorted. Like it's like a different kind of texture. And then it comes all the way down here and like ends down here. But anyway, going back to Greece. If we zoom in, you see these things? And these are even more kind of artificial looking than the dimples that we were looking at off the coast of California, because these all are in like a line, like very clearly, intelligently designed, some kind of domes where they houses, buildings. I mean, if they're clearly very large. If you kind of compare, you know, like this is like a beach and that's a building. These things are massive. I mean, these would be like the size of a small mountain, or like a, I almost want to say it looks like it would be the size of like the Great Pyramid, but maybe even bigger. But yeah, you obviously see the scale, and they're obviously very large. So what are they? They're large, and they're in a line, and it's not just here. They're like all over this part of Greece in the water. Here's some more. And if there is some kind of more logical explanation for this, I would love to know. Or if there's any, I haven't heard any mainstream explanation of this. Up here as well, you can see a little bit less, some here as well. Geometric shapes that contain structures, says Gail. And I mean, these could be very ancient if we think about, like, you know, the Greek mythology and how old a lot of these stories are, and they all took place in this area, and it could date back to then for sure. This is a little different than what we've seen so far too, more ripply. Looks natural, but more ripply. Here's another strange tunnel thing. Sticking off the seabed. Here's some more. And clearly these are not just a texture change like we saw in Australia. This is like a physical something that was mapped. Physical tunnels. Whoa. What the heck? That is very strange. Yeah, and these are clearly the same definition. It's not... Yeah, that's strange. It makes me think that what we saw in Australia was them high definition imaging just this part and leaving the rest blurry to make it look like it was just the imaging, when in reality the imaging was covering up the actuality of there being a structure there. But it's almost like they were trying to make it look like it was just from the imaging. But this is clearly a physical thing. You would agree, yeah? This one kind of makes a triangle. Some kind of base or structure there. So they're all over the planet, guys. I mean, we know from so many different kinds of sources, insider testimony, from channelings, from ancient history, from native lore, that there were, there's been a lot of activity on this planet for a very long time that has come and gone. We are not the premier, most advanced species of the planet by any means. I mean, in the sense of like, now, and in terms of us being seated here, I think we are like the premier consciousness now, but there's definitely been more advanced civilizations that have been here before us, non-human civilizations, and human civilizations that were more advanced. And so I think what we're seeing is a combination of ancient structures that have already existed here for potentially thousands, millions of years, but also more modern day human structures that have been built in. Does anyone have any theories or any kind of plausible explanations on what these lumps might be, especially off of this island here? Punkness, probably saying that wrong. Seems like people probably live here. Not that many. It looks like there are towns. Jeez, these things are huge, honestly. Like, it's massive. They're definitely not homes. They're like... I mean, that's like the size of this whole mountainside right here. It's massive. And they're very pointy. What if they're just straight up pyramids? I mean, that looks like a pyramid. Wow, can you imagine? That many pyramids? That would be nuts. That one in particular, you could really see, felt like a point. Could just be the imaging, but oh yeah, that's kind of glitchy. There's another one though. That one could be a pyramid. All right, any requests on continents or parts of the world that we should check out and look for weird stuff? Otherwise, I'm just gonna peruse and see what we find. This is just one of my favorite things to do in my downtime. Just cruise around the earth. Bile. Bile is the only village on Snake Island. Snake Island? The island has been known since classical antiquity, and during that era hosted a Greek temple to Achilles. The island is populated, reported to have under 30 people. The village of Bile was only founded in 2007. Are there snakes on the island? On February 2022, 2 Russian Navy ships attacked and captured Snake Island. Oh, well, that tells you that there's probably something important there. It was since heavily bombarded by Ukraine. Okay, this is like 2 days ago, June 30th, 2022, Ukraine said that it had pushed Russian forces from the island. Russia announced that it had withdrawn troops from the island in a gesture of goodwill after military objectives were complete. Okay, so they went in there, took whatever they needed, and then got out, and they were like, okay, Ukraine, you can have it. How weird. I wonder what the significance is, because there's clearly not too much going on the surface. Looks pretty barren. But, how weird. How weird that I was just drawn to that, too. I guess, yeah, so Russia doesn't directly border this, I don't think. Gail in the comments says, Bashar, channeled by Daryl Anka, says parts of Greece are sunken Atlantis continent. Crete, I think. Interesting. Interesting, because that's not where I typically picture Atlantis to be, but... oh, yeah, Crete. Yeah, that was that island. You're right, Crete, yep. But that's very possible. Or at the very least, like an Atlantean colony. For some reason, when I picture Atlantis, when I feel into it, I feel like it was here. Like, right here, which kind of makes sense with the Atlantic Ocean. But it definitely does feel like Greece has connections with Atlantis in one form or another, and obviously Plato wrote about Atlantis, so he had some kind of connection or access to historical records in one way or another. The Law of One does say that when Atlantis sunk, that Atlantean colonies fled to, I believe it was Tibet and Turkey and Peru, I believe, are the 3 places. And Turkey's right here, so that's pretty close. And maybe even before Atlantis is what I'm getting now. Prior to Atlantis, maybe there were certain groups that were being seeded and growing here that were related to the Anunnaki Aesir beings, is what I'm getting. Van. Well, that's pretty. Wow. That's beautiful. All right, let's take a look in the South China Sea, because I remember seeing some strange stuff over here, like weird. Oh, I bet you they've blocked a bunch of it out. Look. Oh my god, that's funny. It wasn't like this a little bit ago. Wow. It's so censored. That's crazy. What's crazy too, I've noticed, obviously here, but also in Antarctica, I've noticed certain parts of Antarctica where, like, when you're zoomed out, it looks like it's all blocked. But then if you happen to, like, know a particular location, almost like if you were, you know, had to be in the know to be able to find that particular location, and you were to zoom in, all of a sudden it gets like a certain part of the frame has a more clear image in a different way than this, but similar. But this is like, obviously they're, you know, they're censoring their areas here for, you know, security. But what I remember seeing is like there were these weird like boats that had these almost like lasers coming off of them. Let's see if we can find any. Huh. That's weird. What could they possibly... Oh, it's got to be a structure, right? It's got to be like pyramids or something. What else would they just put a black square over? That is so weird. Wait, what? How strange. Whoa. What are the black squares? There's clearly something going on here. They've got to be some kind of structure, pyramid or something. What else would you just put a copy and paste a black square over and over? Oh, I really want to find one of these boats I was telling you about. Whoa. Talk about an artificial cove. Sin Cow Island? I can't even click on it. Weird. Ooh, that's a trip. You guys see those? Whatever they are. Interesting. Whoa. What do you guys think that is? What a trip. Very spiderwebby. Could those just be currents? Oh, it almost... Oh, it gives me a weird vibe. Ooh. Ooh, that gives me a really weird vibe. This thing, it looks like a spider web or like, oh. I just got like a bad feeling in my body. I don't know why though. I mean, that's pretty. Is it just reefs? I don't know why that looks so eerie. Probably just a reef. Oh, here's another strange island. Very orange. Oh, they blocked something out here. Is that like a cool aircraft or something? Ooh. These are so weird, all these little military outposts. Who knows what they're doing? I'm gonna find one of these things I was telling you about. I know I'm gonna find it. Why even have this? It's probably a fake cloud too. Oh, here's some more of those. I guess maybe they're just reefs, but it's a bit strange. Flora Temple. Then you see these names and you're like, why? There's got to be a reason, right? Flora Temple. We have a temple there? A flower temple. It's like when you look at the Grand Canyon and everything's named after gods and goddesses. There's like Shiva Temple and Buddha Temple and Ra Temple. Okay, here's some boats. So many islands out here. It's so fascinating. Huh. That definitely looks artificially constructed. North Danger Reef. That's a good way to get people to stay away. Danger. Southwest K. Whoa, that looks like a face. Looks like a little alien face, doesn't it? Eyes and the nose. What if it's a way that they're messaging? This whole island is shaped strange. It looks like a fish with legs. Come on, let's find some of these boats. Where's the laser boats? Let's try a different part. Okay, let's orient ourselves here. Maybe it was up in here. I feel like this has changed. They blocked out more now. That's a trip. Yep. That face looks exactly like that. Whoa. Imagine living in a place like this. But unfortunately, it's all like military stuff. These big domes. I wonder what they're using those for. Helipad, crops. Oh, that says something. Only. Something only. Can you guys read that? Winch? Winch only? Looks like something something CH only. Interesting. CM? Definitely looks like the word only, though. It's definitely English letters. Weird. Oh. Strange. Wonder why it's so red. Almost looks like maybe it's oil. Okay, here's some boats. I remember there were, okay, so it was kind of like this where there was like atolls and then there were boats in the atolls, but they had like, when you zoomed in, they had like these super shiny colored lights on them. But it's hard to just explain. Kind of looks like a tennis court. That's interesting. Whoa. What could that be? All the stuff they're hiding. It's Mickey Mouse. Wow, the colors are so pretty. All right, Pete says the oldest golf course in North America is on Niagara on the Lake Ontario, Canada. At the corner of the golf course is a star fort. Another star fort is in Fort Erie. Okay, let's try to find that. It's on, so would I look up Niagara to find it? Niagara Falls. Which one's Ontario? This one's Ontario, right? Okay, so you're saying it is like in this area, golf course. These star forts are interesting. That's a new thing to me. So do you guys think the Pentagon is a star fort? It looks like pretty dang similar. Okay, I feel like I'm close. Ooh, Navy Island. Huh. Should I look up golf course, see what I find? feel like I'm close. Oh, look, it's the Ripple logo. What's that? Yeah. Is it not working? Yeah, it looks like it's working. Okay, Fort Mississauga. Oh, I was in the wrong place. I was close though. Whoa. Wait, is that the Star Fort? Interesting. Interesting. Okay, and the other one was Fort Erie. Let's check that out. Okay, where is it? Is this the right Fort Erie? Okay, we'll go back to the other one real quick. Oh, it's literally called Niagara on the Lake. Ha! That's funny. I didn't realize that. I was like, oh, okay, it's the Niagara River on the lake, but there's literally a place called Niagara on the Lake. What do you know? Yeah, that's interesting. So what makes it the Star Fort? Is it the star? It's this shape here? Because the actual building is not star-shaped like the other ones I saw, but this definitely looks star-shaped. Oh, in this part, yeah. Interesting, interesting. Fort George National Site. Let's try that. Oh. This is what we're looking at? Strange. Whoa. That is a trip. Lots of pentagons. Wow. How fascinating. I love that. Very geometric. All right, guys. It's been a good time. I had fun. I'm starting to get a little tired. I think I'm going to get up and stretch and get something to eat. Okay, I'll try one more. Okay, we got one more request. Naarden in the Netherlands. We'll try that. I can push a little longer. Whoa. Dude, that is crazy. So what do you think they are? For you guys that are familiar with these, what do you... I mean, someone mentioned they're connected to Tartaria. Are they energy centers, a power plant of some kind? Or is it more just for the sacred geometry of the, like, the feng shui in a way? What is the vesting Narden? Well, they're forts. Okay, so I guess they're forts, so they're military defenses. So there's got to be some kind of defensive capability to it that they would continue to make this design, right? Some sort of energy vortex, says Limonella. Thank you, Earthworth. Yeah, show some love. Hit that like button. Share if you can. Appreciate you guys. Thanks, man. Prinsky says, at school we learn the shape is because of defense. So what do they teach you? Is it like tactically it's a good defensive? I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like if you have men positioned at each of these corners, then it seems like it would be defensively strategic. And the frequency of the shapes and the sacred geometry. Yep. Interesting. All right, guys. It's been good. Much love. If you enjoyed this video, then let me know in the comment, and I'll make another one like this because I enjoy doing this kind of stuff. So it's fun to hang out and just peruse the planet, find some cool anomalies together. And hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. It's 1:11 right now in Pacific Standard Time, so I think that's a good sign. All right, you guys. Much love, and I'll see you next time.